wheels fell off. Hey everybody, how are you? Where are you? Who are you? What are you doing? Where are you watching this from? Are you on Facebook? Are you on YouTube? Pretty much everybody's on YouTube. And then there's also on the Facebook page, and there's on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn, this is always like a lifeline of hope and excitement to those overachievers of us that spend too much time on LinkedIn. If you're hoping for life to work out through LinkedIn, we might actually not be.
Not actually streaming.
Okay, yeah, LinkedIn. Yeah, LinkedIn. Turns out it stinks. Stinked in. Anyway, how is everybody? This is the Gibson G45, and man, this guitar, it has a very different experience to play. So as I'm playing it, I'm getting a lot more noise than I would normally get. I'm out of tune. Canada. Looks like there's a bunch of people. Here, Dylan, you tell me so I don't look over at the monitor.
Northern Canada, Florida, Alabama. John Hopkins said, hey.
John!
Good chatting with you earlier today.
John, that was so fun. So John booked a call, and so we talked earlier today, and I was late, and I'm sorry. I don't know why I had to tell the world that, but I was like 15 minutes late. I'm very sorry. But I shouldn't have said any of that. But John and I talked about how to build a cool guitar collection, a ton of cool stuff. Today is officially the day that we're launching the guitar. Right, worked really hard on this to not stick the landing. Today is the official launch of Write Guitars Faster. This is a video this is a video series. It's a course. We've worked so hard on it. Dylan and I have just put countless hours into it. And but anyway, so John and I talked today about he wants to start building a cool guitar collection. He wants to start kind of building up, buying the muscles to buy and sell guitars, to wind up with a meaningful guitar collection. And it was super fun to talk to him. That is one of my favorite things to do. If you want to just hang out, have a video call, talk to me about guitars, ask guitar questions. How do you do this? How do you do that? Who are you? All those. Do that. You can go through jeremytheguitarhunter.com/contact, and there's like a Let's Talk page. You can find my schedule and your schedule and see where there are some open spots. So anyway, anything else exciting going on?
Just a ton of hays. Sonia says, hey, Jeremy and Dylan.
Sonia!
Well. We're doing well.
Hey, there's somebody watching from Facebook.
Yep.
Gary Kirkpatrick from Ireland.
Saw the unbox video this morning. Howdy from North... Wait, that's not North Carolina. Why? Canadian expat. Maybe it is North Carolina. I don't know.
Howdy from... No, yeah, that's Elliot.
Elliot, yeah.
Yeah, Elliot. Dr. Godine himself. Yeah, I didn't know that you're Canadian. From America's Hat.
Oh, Scotland, too.
Yeah, Paisley, right?
Yeah.
Tejas. Alden, you're in Texas. Where are you in Texas? I love Texas. I remember Texas. I mean, Texas is sold as this like mythical world beyond the Mississippi, and then you go there and you're like, wow, this place is awesome. I've spent a bunch of time in Texas. In college, I would travel. There were a bunch of churches in Texas that would pay me to come speak at like youth conferences, and that was fun. And I spent a bunch of time in West Texas, which West Texas is awesome and weird, and then North Texas is crazy. Yeah, you can hit remove. There you go. LinkedIn is not working for us today. We use one software to send it out in a couple ways. So anyway, tell me, is the audio... Anyway, Texas, Cedar Park, Austin. Dude, Austin's awesome. I got chased by a homeless guy in Austin on Christmas Eve. That's a weird segue, huh? I was staying at a friend's house, and he'd gone home. I don't know why. I just told my dad to book my flight to leave Christmas Eve, like, that night. So it's like 10 o'clock in the morning, and I'm walking through, like, down Congress. No, what's that? The street right by UT. and this guy yells, "Get over here!" And I look back, and there's a homeless dude with just a plastic bag that looks like it was full of knives or forks. He's just chasing me, and he chased me for a long time. And I ran, and he's still chasing me. And then I ran into a Thai restaurant, and then sat down, ordered some Thai food, and they said, "Do you want spicy food?" I like spicy food, and they gave me the hottest spicy food of my life. And the homeless guy's just watching me the whole time, and then eventually I was like, I gotta get out of here. So I took my Thai leftovers and I sprinted out and made it back to my friend's apartment, and the spicy food didn't agree with me, and then I threw up. So then it was Christmas, and I had to go get a cab to the airport for a flight. This is a weird story. Somehow I liked Texas after all that. And then I worked for a company years later in Houston and spent a ton of time in Houston. That's where I discovered how wonderful beef barbecue is. Oh my gosh, I miss like proper Texas beef barbecue. Because in Virginia, it's like pork and chicken barbecue, and it's very vinegary, and no tomatoes, no smokiness, and just very different.
And
anyway,
you were from Japan too.
Japan, that's amazing.
That's so cool.
I can't remember having anybody in Japan. That's awesome. It's probably tomorrow morning? It's probably early tomorrow. Probably 15 or 16. Yeah, you live in the future. I don't know what happened to me. Well, I went to public schools, but I went to public school in Virginia, so that's a good thing. But somehow my brain just doesn't understand time zones, or maybe it's just time zones aren't meant to be understood, because there's not any real math to them. They're just like, well, here's a line, and we're just going to say it's an hour earlier or an hour later. But anyway, yeah, this week we finally finished Write Guitars Faster. So we're gonna talk about Write Guitars Faster today. Then we're gonna talk about guitars that I have for sale, and then we're just gonna do Q&A. We're gonna give away 3 courses, 3 people, and that's a $150 value. It's $147 for Write Guitars Faster. It's 6 hours. We'll talk about that here in a second. But yeah, let's go to that first one. So who is right? Well, maybe is the question, what is? I'm shooting from the hip here. So the first thing is, what is Write Guitars Faster? Those are out of order. That's my fault. But Write Guitars Faster is 19 videos. It is about 6 hours of videos. There is a PDF that goes with it that's not uploaded yet, but will be, because I ran out of time this morning. But Write Guitars Faster is a comprehensive look at how to buy the right guitars, sell the wrong guitars, and build a meaningful guitar collection. Within buying the right guitars, we talk a ton about how to buy guitars, what the retail landscape looks like, how it's changed over the last 20 years, and just how much is at stake. You can only buy a couple wrong guitars before it really starts throwing you off, and it can really mess with your the momentum of your guitar collection. And so I think a lot of people, it takes them way too long to buy the right guitars. And so the first section is all about how to limit the wrong guitars you buy first and to buy the right guitars. And then also it shifts into teaching you, the second part is how to sell the wrong guitars. Because you and I are going to buy the wrong guitars, and it's going to be embarrassing, and it's going to be frustrating, and it's going to be really disappointing, and you're going to get guitars that you just, I don't know, if you get too many of the wrong guitars, you might give up. And I know plenty of guitar players who give up on guitar playing because they just are aimless and they don't get the right guitars. And then also they lose so much money when you sell the wrong guitars. So the second part is just really specific, really practical details on how to take great pictures, how to write compelling descriptions, how to take great pictures, captivating pictures, compelling descriptions, and how to communicate with people, how to catch verbal and nonverbal communication, how to tame your feels, how to be there and not be intimidated, to connect with people, to make friends, to connect, and to sell people on you being the right person to buy their guitars, sell their guitars. And then the third part is all focused on how to build a meaningful collection, because it is not hard to wind up with a ton of guitars. Like, I've got probably 25 guitars right now. It's not that hard to get a ton of guitars, but it's really hard to get guitars that matter, that together as a collection speak to who you are, what you value, what you offer the world. And so the third section is all about how to buy, or how to buy the right guitars, sell the wrong guitars, and build a meaningful collection, to build momentum. Because most of us, if you don't buy guitars right, if you don't sell guitars and get the most money back out of them, you're throwing away a ton of energy and effort. And so all of a sudden you're getting to where you're like, well, I've got 25 guitars and they're okay. Like, I like them. I want you to have 4 or 5 guitars, 7, 8, 10 guitars that light your soul on fire. That when you show up to like a band or a jam, you sound like you, and you like the way you sound, and you compliment other musicians, and it's just a good, right fit for you. And they spin on, they kind of live on into being a legacy for you that's not at risk because you didn't use debt along the way. There's a whole bunch in here. Like, there's 19 videos. We worked our tails off to get this to be the best thing that it could be. So I think that's it for what is Red Guitars Faster. So the next one is, who is it for? It is for people that want to get the most out of their guitar playing life. Yeah, I want to... Who is it for? I've done hundreds of these phone calls. Let me take a step back. For 20 years, I have obsessed about guitars. And I've just cared about them in the way that, like, your friends from high school, like, paid attention to every athlete and every detail and spec, and where did they go to college, and what year did they get that endorsement from that brand. I've done the same thing on guitars. It's come really naturally to me. And from a pretty early age, my first job out of college, I was a couple weeks into college, I got hired to work at a vintage guitar shop. And I fell in love with the idea of people finding the right guitars. And I just love how much people come to life when they get the right guitars. And I also saw firsthand how hard it is on people, whether they'll admit it or not, when they get the wrong guitar, when they feel uninspired. So this is a course for people that want to take their guitar playing seriously and also want to just figure out how to understand guitar culture at large. And so it's me kind of inviting people into a deeper understanding of guitar world so that they can put all of that together so that you can build a collection that is representative of you. And the coolest thing is that people that get to the end of that learn how to build a guitar collection really understand who they are, what they are for the world, and how they want to represent themselves going forward. It's a pretty cathartic and amazing thing that happens coming through that. And I dropped a guitar pick. Are there any comments that came through?
Well, Patrick said you might buy the right guitar and find out it's wrong after all. I think he was just talking about when you were talking about what the course is. And then John Hopkins said, that's where I'm at right now. 23 guitars in my collection, and half of them are just kind of meh. Yeah, and that's the thing is, like, it's not hard to get a bunch of guitars. It's very hard to get guitars that, like, connect with you and matter, and you would be upset if they went away, were gone, if your house, like, maybe I haven't had this thought before, but basically, like, I'm now at a place where, like, if the studio's on fire, I want everything to come with me. They matter. Like, I don't want to have to choose, because I've worked so hard to refine it. So for me, it's like my Haas and Dalton, my Waterloo, my Rude Revelator, my Tom DeLonge, my Pink Paisley. I mean, like, I'm pretty inseparable. Like, who I am and me as a musician and my legacy's tied up in a bunch of these guitars. This Guild 5E3 clone. I mean, so I think that's the coolest thing, and I just want to invite people into a deeper and more meaningful experience of life in that. Cool, so that's who it's for. Yeah, I got another comment from Jukas Zor. He said, same, I have at least 18. I'm meh on almost all of them. Either so cheap. I can't deal with Craigslist folks or really expensive guitars, so I don't know how to go about finding a buyer.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Craigslist is the wild, wild west. And I talk a ton about it in the course. It's hard because it's just like, you could find, like, you'll find great stuff and you will have to just weed through so much junk. And then if you're selling stuff, it's just nonsense of like, I have a buyer in the US. They will send you a cashier's check. They will overnight. Is the item still available? Like, is the item 1996 Fender Stratocaster with original hardshell case in mint condition? Just nonsense. Yeah, but then also, what was the other one? You don't...
Or they're so expensive, I don't know how to
go about finding a buyer.
Yeah, selling expensive guitars is a challenge for sure. Yeah, you have to figure out where your audience is. There's a bunch of stuff too. In order to get top dollar, you have to be able to represent your stuff really well. So I'd work on writing descriptions, taking really good pictures. I'm excited. There's a video in there, it's a deep dive into how to take the best pictures you can with your smartphone. It's not, because Dylan and I are both photographers and get really nerdy on that stuff. So it's not the deep dive of like, here's how to use a mirrorless or DSLR and to take, here's how to take great pictures with a $5,000 camera and lens. This is, hey, with your camera in your pocket, how to take good pictures. And but yeah, getting to where you bring a ton of value. How you represent your gear brings a lot of value to it. And but that's a good question. Let's go to, we'll come back to comments here in a second. Let's go, what's the next one? Yeah, so this is a question for you guys. How long does it take you to find the right guitars? We talked about this. You got 18 guitars there. You're meh on half of them. You got 20 couple guitars. You're meh. For me, let me answer this question for myself. I hadn't really thought this through. I started playing guitar when I was 14. I didn't find a guitar that I couldn't imagine my life without until I was 20 or so. I was 19, and I bought a Guild D40. That was, and I've talked about this guitar. I've showed pictures of it. It was terrible. It was like it was oversprayed with heavy like brush shellac. It needed a neck reset. The saddle was like the width of it, like the height of a toothpick, basically. Like, it was so low. The action was high. It played really hard. I put Grover Imperial tuners on it. It's funny. It's a guitar worth $400, and I put $150 tuners on it. And then I put a Shirtler, one of those a Shirtler blue stick pickup in it. But that was the first guitar that I was like, whoa, a thing happens in me when I get this guitar. Now, there were other guitars I really liked in that time. I had a Martin D15 I worked really hard for. I had my Tom DeLonge back when it was still said Squire on it. But it took a long time. There were plenty of guitars I got that were just wrong. The first guitar I got that was completely wrong for me was a Dan Electro. It was like a U2 or a 59. It was a U2. It was 2 lipstick pickups, volume and tone with the stacked like volume and the smaller knob, and then the tone was kind of a ring around the side. And that guitar, man, that thing, I got it, and I don't know why I got it. I got it because it was purple and sparkly, and that was cool to me. But I don't know, I got it and I plugged it into this amp back here, into a Crate GFX 212, like a heavy metal, heavy chuggy thing, and it sounded overdriven, didn't sound distorted, and it just could not have been more of a wrong guitar for me. But yeah, what do you guys say? How long did it take you to find the right guitars? And you can highlight comments if you want in there.
This is a good one from Aiden. I will spend months reading reviews, watching videos before a purchase. Lucky to have a couple of good local shops as well.
Good. There you go.
Yeah.
How do you figure out which guitars are right for you? Maybe that's not quite the question, but yeah, how long did it take you guys?
Yeah. Here's a good one from Patrick. I think I know what my right guitars are. The next hill is getting the funds together. Stepping stones, I suppose.
You can do it.
A lot as well in the course.
There's a whole section about get your money right. How to pay for it, how to do it. Because it has to be these concentric rings of good. And John and I talked about this. Like, your guitar collection has to be, like, it has to be good to you. Yeah, guitars have to be good to you, but they also have to be good to you, and this is financially, like being able to afford them. Let's talk about your finances, not just guitars. Your finances have to be good for you. They also have to be good for you and your wife, or your partner, or your spouse, your husband, whoever. Then they have to be good for you and your spouse and your kids, you and your household, and your neighborhood, and your church, and your community, and your work. Like, it has to be, because you get yourself really jumbled up when, I think, I will say it, and I will say it till I'm blue in the face, debt is dumb. Debt is the absolute biggest threat. If you want to ruin your chances to wind up with meaningful guitars and a collection that says something about you, be leveraged. Like, be in debt for it. And I think there are people who can be clever with credit cards. I think they're out there, but I think they're very, very rare. I think you trying to be clever and use points to buy guitars and find a way to, flip balances here and there against a company that sends billions of dollars in market research to get you to go into debt, I think they're going to outsmart you. And so for me, it's just a conviction that I think, don't borrow money. Oh, that's a good question from Rasmus.
Is that a Henderson?
Is that a Henderson? Back here?
I'm guessing no.
It is not a Henderson. It does look like one, huh? Oh man, that's funny. Sorry, this is a total sidestep. So this is a Duncan Africa Jubilee. We're gonna give this guitar away for absolutely free. Caveat. Clickbait. That's a clickbait sentence. You will have to be generous into the world to get a chance to buy this guitar, to win this guitar for free. I will ship it. I will swag it. So hat or t-shirt or coffee, something like that. But that is funny. This headstock looks like a Henderson. This guitar is made in Uganda. This is an amazing thing that's happening in the world. Duncan Africa, they are based in Canada, in Vancouver, and they build guitars in Uganda. They ship them to Canada. They assemble them. They put them together there. They make sure that they sound great, play great. And this is an amazing thing that's giving dignity and good, valid work in the world. And more details on this. I'm going to interview Jay. We're going to talk about this. There will be a video launching. You'll get to a chance to win this guitar. But it looks like a Henderson. I misread the question. I thought the question was, what is a Henderson? But anyway, what's Jansen say?
Jansen, estate sale find. Country Western, my lifetime.
Freaking. I'm so jealous. That's like, if there is a vintage guitar I want, it's a Country Western. And Jansen has such cool ones. I'm jealous, buddy.
And before that, Jay Hill said, just picked up an old Martin Lawsuit Conrad from 1975 with maple back and sides. This thing's a masterpiece. Best thing is, I only gave the guy $240.
Whoa. That's awesome. Those are rare. You don't see those very often. If you're looking for like old Lawsuit era, and most people, they kind of say that, it seems like there was this general trend in the guitar community for like Japanese import guitars to just completely rip off American brands and American designs. So like Ibanez, Takamine, what was that one? Conrad?
Conrad,
Yeah. There's a bunch of those. But man, those are really cool guitars. And that's where like the thread that you would start seeing in that kind of guitar collection is if you get that kind of thing, you love like unique, quirky. I mean, you could even like your theme could be counterfeit. Well, maybe not that word. Replicas? I don't know. I think the Ibanez, those are amazing. Like the Ibanez like V's and Explorers from the 70s are super cool. The Greco, that's what my friend Bo has, a Greco that is amazing.
Jensen also said about the estate sale, it was his first estate sale.
Sheesh.
So everyone look around.
How do you ever go to a second one? You find a Country and Western like a 50, his is like a 55 or 57.
He didn't specify.
I've just seen pictures of it. But anyway, that's cool. All right, so that was the how long does it take you? I think I had a guitar teacher that years ago, and he was telling me about, because I'm left-handed, and I was thinking about learning to play guitar left-handed. And he said, hey, it takes most people 10 years to find the right guitar for them. It takes lefties a couple years to just find a guitar. And so that's what convinced me to play guitar right-handed. And I have a video about that. And I think that that's the right move for most people. If you're left-handed, you probably should learn to play right-handed because your left hand is doing a lot of more the fine motor skills, and your right hand, you can just strum like a monster. I don't know. But yeah. Okay, so how long did it take you to find the right guitars was the next question. What's the hardest part of buying guitars for you guys? Is it finding guitars? Like literally for me, the guitar shop in my hometown exploded. And so there's like a skate shop. My buddy Elliot, like he has a guitar shop. It's a music shop. He mostly sells records. And he has, 15 or so guitars. But it's all used stuff. It's just crazy. So for me, it's really hard to even find guitars to buy around here. But what's the hardest part of finding guitars for you? Do you live in a place where your style is just totally at odds with the prevailing kind of music culture around you? Around here, pretty much most of the guitars that you find for sale are heavy, shreddy metal guitars. That's just most of the things that show up around here. Or completely bluegrass, big, large sound hole, expensive. Like there's a bunch of old Martins, not old, there are a bunch of Martin like custom shops around here now, which very fortunately, those are guitars I'm really into. But yeah, what do you guys think or say? What's the hardest part of the guitar buying process for you? I'm gonna drink some water.
Rasmus also added gas leak, isn't it? He was talking about, guitar shop.
I've showed this on before, but I'll do it again. Oh boy. Oh boy. Just out of frame. We'll never know what happened. This drum was in there. This was in the building when the building exploded. And yeah. So there were pieces. We have friends that live on, because basically it was like the building, there's a big park where a bunch of kids were playing. There was a 5K run that had just finished happening. It was in October of 2020. And then on the other side of the park, we have some friends. And in their front yard, they found pieces of drum cymbals, they found a guitar tuner. So it was a full-blown crazy explosion. It shook our house. We're a couple miles from it. And I don't think we've talked about it, Dylan, but...
I was out of town.
Okay.
My, college friends group chat of, 200 people just blew up.
Yeah.
Everybody was like...
Pun intended?
No, unintended.
Pun intended.
What is going on? The earth just shook. Before.
Dude, it was...
Yeah, it was crazy, apparently.
It was nuts. It was, early in the morning.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I snagged this thing to just remember, how intense and crazy it was. But yeah, so...
Nobody was hurt.
Three people were hurt. No one died.
Yes.
It was amazing. As far as, there was a guy who was there was a halal meat place, and for some reason he'd forgot something at home. So he had been there for about an hour, and then he left and ran home, and he was pulling out of the parking lot, or onto the highway. So just shocking that nobody got hurt. But anyway, so that's why it's really hard for us to buy guitars around here, because that shop, they were in that video, in the 12-string video. They're just getting up and running again. And but yeah, so I think for a lot of people, it also can be super intimidating to walk into big guitar shops. So one of the things we talk about in the course is just how different guitar retail is. And so if you're buying from a small mom and pop shop with a salesperson that's hanging over you, asking you a bunch of questions, telling you, don't scratch that guitar, take the keys out of your pocket, that's a whole thing you got to deal with. But then there's also going into a guitar shop and there's a bonus video that we threw in at the very last second on this one, which is how do you get a deal in every situation? How do you get a deal at a mom and pop shop? How do you get a deal at a corporate guitar shop? How do you get a deal from Sweetwater or from an online retailer? It's full-on distilled wisdom from 20 years of buying and selling guitars, and now being connected in the YouTube world and hearing from hundreds of guitar players. They're saying I got this amazing deal and here's how I did it. So all that wisdom, and it's in the course.
A few relevant comments here.
Do it.
John said, hardest part of buying guitars is that I'm really hesitant to buy unless I can play them first. Fortunately, I haven't been burned,
Yeah.
when I've ordered from Sweetwater, etc., but I'm sure it'll happen.
Yeah, well, I think, and one of the things we talk about in the course is there are right places to buy from and wrong places to buy from. That's the gamble of Facebook Marketplace. If you're buying when they're shipping, they've just started in the last couple of years, you can get stuff shipped to you. And then Reverb, that's where you have to be really specific, saying hey, I need 7 days, and then you just have to work out all those contingencies of all right, if I get this guitar and I don't like it, I have 7 days to decide, and if I don't like it, it gets mailed back. And then you have to really answer the question of who pays shipping, because that's the hesitance, or that's the problem I always run into is you can return it in 7 days if you buy it from me, but you are paying shipping. And that's usually, or if it comes back to me, it will, like, shipping costs will come out of your return. And people get grumpy about that. So anyway, life is about expectations. And unmet expectations are always, that's where the devil lies. And so you just have to, yeah. But that's good. I mean, it's a valid fear. I also think if you're a really picky person, don't buy stuff online. Like my old guitar teacher, love him, wonderful. And he's the worst. Maybe Bart, are you watching this? He might be watching this. But he bought, what was it? A Collings i30? Yeah, no. It was a Heritage. It was a Heritage 530. So it's basically like a Gibson 330 kind of guitar. He got it, and he got a pretty good price on it, like $1,900. And he got it, and he was like, I spent 6 hours filling and re-gluing, or filling, re-drilling, and tapping the strap pin. And then he was like, I just couldn't get into it. There were microtonal differences. What did he say? Something about the fretwork. He's the most particular, most pain in the ass customer ever. So he's the wrong person to buy a guitar online. He's the wrong person to buy a guitar in person. Because he did all this work and then ended up like on the 6th day was like, all right, I'm going to call it off. And he called them and got a refund. So anyway, yeah, if you're really particular, you're not cut out for the, yeah. Also, if you don't have the skill set to fix things and make things, like I can buy a guitar and see past, we were talking about it before the video started, before the show started today. I now can see past, like I can buy a guitar with dead strings and with high action and with fretwork because I can see past it, I can see what it will be, and I have the skill set to fix those things. If you don't have those things, you probably shouldn't buy that kind of guitar. Yeah, so if you're super particular, don't waste your time.
Another good one from Patrick. I run into issues being in a larger populated area finding gear, especially a deal before somebody else snags it. No time to waver, need to make quick decisions on undervalued gear.
That's a good one. Yeah. It also pays, literally, if you have a job that's flexible. If you can get there during the day, you'll get way more deals. That's what I found in New Orleans. Because New Orleans is like, it's the best Craigslist I've ever seen. It's like every day there's 400 or 500 listings and they're all cool. And I remember years ago I got 2 guitars in the same day that were just awesome deals. And it was just because I was there and I could get there in 20 minutes. And it was, I got a 61 reissue, an SG, big headstock. It was the cherry finish. Not really my kind of guitar, but I got it for $600 because it's just cool and I could get there right away. He was asking $700. There's something broken in my brain that I always have to, I feel like I'm not getting a deal unless I'm getting money off. And people get offended by that. I've had a couple YouTube comments telling me I'm a terrible person for just insisting on getting money off. The other one I got was a Marshall Class 5. I got for $200 because I was just there. And I guess I got a third one right around that same stretch. But yeah, if you can get there quick, but there's tons of competition. Like, you don't get to think about stuff. That's the biggest one too. And it just comes from like buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell. And you get to where you know who you are, what you like, what you can fix, what you can make money on, and how you can gain that money to move towards the thing that you really want. And yeah. I want to make a video on guitar flipping. I want to talk about why people are so upset about guitar flippers. I understand, and I think we're kind of queued up for that conversation. But, yeah.
Another good one from Sonia. Going to a guitar store is even harder when you're a woman. You really have to know your stuff or you're just dismissed. You're not worth the time. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, it's true. I never knew how condescended to women were until right at the beginning. So last year in 2020, I worked for a nonprofit and it supported downtown Harrisonburg where I live. And the executive director is just a full-blown badass. She's awesome. She's got a master's in public communication. She's amazing. And we would get people calling in and they'd be like, hey, is that little girl down there that works at the, that she, you know, and they'd say like that little girl, and I would correct them and I would say, like, well, it happened a bunch of times. One time I was like, she's not a little girl. That's a woman. She is a woman. She is the executive director. She is a full professional. And so I didn't realize, but I definitely can see it's true. I hopefully don't think that I've ever been that way when I worked in a guitar shop, but I absolutely believe you, and I'm very sorry that that happens, that it continues to happen. I mean, I know that when I go into a guitar shop, I feel a bit like that meme of Ron Swanson when he walks into Home Depot and it's like, hello, how can I help you? And Ron Swanson just pushes past and says, I know more than you. I feel like I have to kind of present myself as like, I know what I'm doing. I'm not, I feel like every now and then I get condescended to, because there's a ton of gatekeeping still in the guitar community, and I'm sure it's way worse for women. I didn't cover that as much in the class, in the revision of the next round of the course. But that's, man, Sonia, thank you. That's really unfortunate, but also really wonderful insight.
Elliot, to add to that, oh man, the Portlandia sketch where Fred Armisen is mansplaining pedals to St. Vincent.
Yes.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. That's good.
Yeah.
Dude, I love Portlandia. What I love about Portlandia is that the brilliance of that comedy is that no one thinks that they're being funny. Like, no character is trying to be funny. It's just the absurdity of it all.
So absurd.
Maybe let's go back to some questions. So what's the next one after...
Oh wait, no, I just saw a good question. Sorry. Caleb asked, "Why do people not like other people flipping anything?" You were talking about guitar flipping.
I'm trying to work this into. Is this Caleb Zimmerman?
Yep.
Hey, buddy. I promise I'll get back to you about studio furniture. We've been a little busy. We've been doing 19 videos in like 5.5 weeks, and then we also cranked out 3 videos this week. Anyway, no excuses. I'm sorry. I'll get back to you. Why do people not like flippers? It's a good question. I think the obvious one is people feel exploited. And exploitation is a valid concern, and there are lots of people doing it. I also think that it's because, well, a million thoughts. I've been trying to figure out how to say this in a concise way. I think that people feel exploited, but I think there's some validity to the opportunity, because exploitation comes from opportunity. And so there are opportunities because lots of small guitar shops have closed down and guitars don't wear out. And so there's lots of opportunity for these pieces of gear to come up. And as, like the guitar shop I worked for here in Harrisonburg closed down in 2013. And that was the shop that would buy and sell used stuff. Now, my buddy Elliot with Wonder Records, he has some. But most small towns don't have guitar shops anymore. And it's mostly been consolidated into Guitar Center. And so because Guitar Center, if you take stuff in to trade it, they're going to offer you 40% of what it's worth. And so in the face of being insulted like that, people either are going to hold on to gear or they're going to try and sell it on Craigslist. And when they try and sell it on Craigslist, they're just going to offer it, anything above 40%, they're making money in their mind. And so they're going to sell stuff at 60% of what it's actually worth. And so that's when you're going to get people coming in saying, well, I have a bigger spread. I'm willing to mail things or ship things or get stuff out. Or I have an Instagram page and people know that I buy used gear. And so they're going to buy it at 40% off. They're going to sell it for 90% of what it's worth or even 100%. So people that have access to reverb or those kind of things. Now, what's interesting is that all of that stuff is getting cracked down on. So now in certain states, if you sell more than $600 worth of gear on reverb in a year, they're going to send you a 1099 at the end of it. And all of a sudden, all of that money you made on that gear, you now are getting taxed as if it was business profit. It is taxed as commercial interactions and taxed as income. So all of a sudden, that gear that you made the $50 on, you're now going to get taxed at your tax rate, 24%, 34%, wherever you are. So I think that there is an attack on the hustle. And I don't think that I could do what I did a couple of years ago. Like, I kind of quickly made probably 40 or 50 grand. I mean, I don't know why I'm saying that low. I ran it as a business. I paid taxes on that money. But I think that there's pressure on people that are selling used gear in all fronts. If you had a small shop, people wouldn't give you a hard time. They would say, I'm glad you own a small business and you're providing work for people, but people don't like the idea of you buying and selling used gear. Anyway, I have a ton of thoughts on that. I haven't come down to them concisely. I'm working on it. So maybe you just there's a preview of my thoughts.
All right, moving on to the next question. What do you feel when you buy the wrong guitar?
Yeah, what do you feel when you buy the wrong guitars? We talked about this a little bit. Yeah, I was talking to a friend the other day of like trying to understand their own feelings. Like I know I have feelings, and when I feel them, they're very intense. And I think, and this is part of just like masculine culture. And Sonia, thank you for being here as well. I think for most of us, we're not very honest with our emotions. We don't talk a ton about them. We don't know how to handle them, process them, deal with them. So when you buy the wrong guitar that you've researched over, you've watched tons of YouTube videos about, you've asked your friends, you've asked people around you, and all of a sudden you get a guitar and you're just like, I hate this thing. It's not me. I don't like the way it sounds. I don't like the way it plays. And now I don't like the way it looks because it reminds me, So, oh man, this is all of a sudden you start seeing things you didn't mean. A friend of mine sent me a meme. This is years ago, and it's the funniest, like one of the funniest jokes I've ever seen. It was, I don't know who that Rorschach guy is, but I wish he'd stop drawing pictures of my parents fighting. So Elliot, that joke's for you. Oh, so many comments. That's good. Embarrassed? Yeah, was that one from Alden?
Alden, embarrassed and let down after all that research. I was wrong.
Dude, seriously. Yeah. Embarrassed is a good one. Shame might be in there. Depends on like your background and how you grew up. Anger, frustration, disappointment. I know people who have given up playing guitar because they saved up a bunch of money. There are two guys I know in particular in Louisiana who one of them saved up and bought a guitar, and it was just the wrong guitar for them. So for me, I've talked about this a lot. I have a guitar that I just, oh my gosh. I spent so much time saving up for this guitar. It was a Husson Dalton DRH custom. I worked so hard, saved up so money. I flipped a couple guitars. I flipped a Gibson Dot, 335 Dot reissue from the early 90s. That's a guitar I should have gotten rid of. But I flipped that one from $1,400 to $2,700, and I saved up a bunch of money, and I finally bought this Husson Dalton, and I got it. And the first thing I did, I took it to a Bible study to play like leading worship for probably 20 couple people. And we're sitting in a living room, and I play it, and people are like, I can't hear you sing. It's so loud. Can you play quieter? And how terrible is that? Like I spent $4,500, $4,600 on a guitar, and it's immediately too loud, not the right guitar. People are noticing, people are talking about it. So it was just this whole flurry of like embarrassment, like shame, disappointment. I remember just feeling this like heavy feeling, like kind of that hot, I can hear my heartbeat in my ears kind of moment of like, because I hate losing money on guitars. I've only lost money on 2 guitars. That was one of them. Lost about $2,000 on that one. The other one was that Guild I mentioned earlier, which the Guild, I lost $100 and I played that guitar for 5 years. So didn't really lose money. I paid $20 a year to borrow that guitar. That's okay. But the other one, been working a long time to work off of that $2,000, which I've bought and sold thousands of guitars. So I've only lost money on 2. I'm doing great. But I hate, difference between never and twice is a giant difference in once. Never and once is a huge difference. Anyway, what else we got?
Another emotion from Matt. He says, I feel dread that I won't be able to sell it, but then have to realize that others might feel different about it.
Oh, that's good. That's wisdom.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
I think that once you take a breath and you're like, okay, this isn't the end of the world. This guitar is not right for me, but it will be perfect for someone. That's good wisdom.
Yeah.
So yeah, being able to okay, I'm not into this thing. Doesn't mean it's a bad thing. I think that's the biggest thing. Most people get hung up when they're trying to sell something. They think that because it's wrong for them, that it's wrong for everybody. You are not you are not the ruler, like you're not the decision maker on whether it's good for everyone. You're just the decision maker on whether it's not right for you. And once you're able to get out of the way and you let your ego go and you say like, okay, I spent a bunch of money on this Les Paul Classic and I don't like that neck taper. I don't like the way those pickups sound, but somebody is going to just love it. And it's going to be the thing that they never want to sell. And that's where like I've sold guitars that I definitely like, they became people's forever guitars. And for me, they were just another guitar. So that's awesome. And it's good. The course covers a ton of this and we can start. We got a boogie. So let's skip through a couple of the next questions that I had. Okay, so that's who's the course right for? What is the course? What do they like to feel? Yeah, click over to those questions.
Yeah. How do you sell guitars?
Okay. Skip that. Let's keep. So if you want to know how to sell guitars, we cover that a lot. There's like probably 6 videos just on how to sell guitars. All right, what else did I put in here?
What's the most you've lost on a guitar?
Oh, yes, that's what I just talked about. What's the most you guys have lost on guitars? Painful. Oh, some of them are out of order, huh?
Mm-hmm. But they're numbered, so that's okay.
I think it's because I upload them by
the
file name, and then they get put in that order. Caleb, do I give guitar lessons? I don't. I gave guitar lessons the first year I was married, and I hated it. It's just not I don't know. I have a very specific style, too. So, yeah. There's a guy, sometimes he watches this show, so I won't say his name, David. David told me that he's not doing bad. This year he's only lost about $2,000 on guitars. Like, what a terrible... I just can't imagine... Maybe there are hobbies that you just throw money into. Like, guys in the car world. Like, I watch Hoovie's Garage and a bunch of these car YouTube channels, and they're like, I only lost $3,000 on that car. I'm like, ugh. I just don't... I hate losing money. I hate it. I don't think you should lose money. I think guitar is one of the few hobbies in which you can make a little bit of money on it. It will not cost you anything. And you'll get to have some cool guitars. But don't lose money. I will teach you how to not lose money on guitars. It's fairly easy. So the course is awesome. And it will definitely help with that. All right, let's go back over to... Or you got any?
Yeah, a little bit of interaction. Dean said only a couple hundred.
Good.
Patrick
That's
said
fair.
He donated his first guitar.
There you go.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, and then another one, Matt. He said, I lost 100%, donated it when I wasn't getting with it, I think is what he meant to say. Lower end acoustic.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've given away a bunch of guitars. Yeah. And if you, like, I don't count that as losing. Like, I count that as, like, I think the point of my guitar collection is that it would, and the point of my life is that it would equip me to be just shockingly generous to people. So, like, I gave my Martin SWD GT to my friend Jessie because she's an amazing singer-songwriter, and I wanted her to own a guitar that she would never buy for herself. And so I gave her just that's a guitar that I love, too. Like, I wish that I had it back, but I'm so glad that she has it. And, So I don't count those. That's amazing. I would continue to work those muscles. Be shockingly, jarringly generous. Because it's awesome. Yeah. Charity's never losing. That's what Alden just said.
Yep. Freddie had the same problem you did with his Martin HD 28. Too loud to sing over.
Almost ruined your voice. Yeah. Dude, I sang so hard with that guitar. And I always felt like I was singing as loud as I could and playing as soft as I can. And I never felt comfortable with that guitar. That's right, yeah. Certain guitars, like, we didn't talk about this, but how do you know when it's the right guitar? When you don't think about it, when you can play it in the dark, when you can play every show with it. Perfect. The right guitars for you don't think about. They just kind of become part of your expression. this is kind of we won't talk about this too much, but what's your strategy? Do you have a strategy? I think most people, they don't really have a strategy. I like guitars and I found deals on guitars. And then now I have 25 guitars. There isn't a strategy. There isn't an end game. There isn't a goal. There's not a legacy you're trying to establish or set up. You're not thinking about, hey, these guitars are going to outlast me. Like I'm 34. I now have guitars that if I take care of them, they will live longer than I live. And so my kids, my neighbors, my friends, an old mentor of mine used to say, a meaningful life does not happen by accident. You will not become the man that you want to be by accident. And he would talk about how because he grew up in Houston, and this is amazing. He grew up close to Johnson Air Force Base, where they would launch a lot of the Apollo missions. And he said that it was amazing to him that they would take these rockets out to the platform, and it took 3 days. They didn't just move the rocket out and fire it off and hope they get to the moon. They would take it out, and it was 3 full days of tweaking and minor tweaks and adjustments. So these moments before you take off in your life, those are the most important. Don't rush that process before you take off. And so that's where if you're gonna build a thing that matters and is meaningful, you gotta do it on purpose. You gotta have a plan. So that's a good one. I talk a ton about that, and I pull a ton of anecdotes and just experiences from my friends and from people that I admire them. I admire their lives and their guitar collections. And so we kind of put together, it's called the Guitar Hunter Framework. It's the tool by which I use to make sense of guitar collections, to encourage people in. If I'm coaching you, that's one of the things I'm now offering through the website and through this course. If you want to go through the course, you want me to coach you, and we're going to partner for you to build a meaningful guitar collection, these are the tools. All of this, the conversation today is meant to scratch the itch, and I'll teach you actually how to do it. I'm going to give you the why you should do this, and I'm going to teach you how to do it in the course.
Next question. What makes a collection meaningful?
It's a good question. What makes for a meaningful life? What makes for a meaningful guitar collection? Because like I said, and I've said this a bunch of times, it's not hard to get a bunch of guitars. It's incredibly hard to get guitars that represent you, that are meaningful, that are substantial, that I would hope, and I've talked about John before, John Prendergast. He was a guitar builder in South Louisiana. I never met him, never knew him. He died, and mutual friends of ours put his wife in touch with me. His wife, all of a sudden, after her husband had died, was tasked with dealing with an entire barn that was full of guitars, 2 bedrooms in their house that were completely full of guitars and tools and pedals. And so there wasn't much plan on legacy for John, unfortunately, because of just the volume of guitars. And so he was a guitar builder. There were hundreds of bodies and necks and parts and pieces. There were maybe 3 or 4 guitars that were actually put together. And but what I found was it was amazingly meaningful as I was going through his pedals and his amps and his guitars, and I started seeing, I paid really close attention to what settings his amps were on. That was one of the cooler things. I would just turn an amp on, not changing any knobs. I'm just going to turn it on and hear what sound it was through a guitar that I know that he had played or he made. And it was cool because they were cool, compressed, jangly, chorusy, stereo effects, and split coil humbucker guitars. And it was I get this guy, this moment in music. This guy was late 80s, early 90s, kind of pop, contemporary Christian. I got who this guy was and what he was into and what he valued through it. So anyway, I hope that we get to that place where someone, after we're long gone, someone could come in and see your guitar collection and be oh, I get it. I know who this person was. I know what they valued. I know what they cared about. I know where they wanted to play their music. So anyway, that's a meaningful guitar collection, and it doesn't happen by accident. I'm going to spend the rest of my life trying to figure out what makes a meaningful collection, but that's the kernel of where I'm starting.
How do you plan to pay for guitars?
Oh, do you plan on paying guitars? Is your money right? Do you have a plan for how you are going to save up? Like, I think all of us want really expensive guitars, but very few of us actually make a plan. That's one of the things I admire so much about Rhett Shull. He's become a good friend over the last couple of years, and Rhett talks about how he started saving up money so that he could buy a Novo. And then he traded some stuff and he put some stuff on a credit card, and his results are not typical. But I appreciate Rhett and his ability to save money and to be disciplined. And I'm not particularly disciplined by nature. All of that feels very foreign to me. But I have benefited from, like, my wife is really good at making a plan. And so there's a whole section on sinking funds. How to put money away, how to save, how to create rituals and rhythms in your life and in your finances, that within a couple of years, you can buy a professional guitar. And what's amazing is those feelings of buying a guitar, I have found, this is completely anecdotal, I have found that more people feel like they're amateurs, that they are imposters, that they don't deserve the guitars that they own when they buy them on credit. What I found is, people that save up, people that, hey, every month I put $100 into this account, and 3 years later I bought that Frank Brothers double cut, or I bought that Thompson, D18. They feel there's a rite of passage that happened. Like, there's something that happened in them. Like, I worked hard. I dreamed of that guitar. I had the picture on the background of my phone. I printed out a picture and I put it on my desk. Like, when you work for something and you earn it, you don't feel like an imposter when you get it. So that's a good one. Have a plan. If you don't have a plan, I'll give you a plan, and I borrow from Dave Ramsey as well in that.
Ayori keeps asking, our viewer from Japan keeps asking if you can play the Showalter guitar.
Oh, I don't have the Showalter here. There are 2 videos of me playing it. I don't have it because it's quite expensive, and he wanted it back. So I just had it for a couple days, 2 weeks ago. But yeah, thanks for watching, and yeah, I would love to. I'm going to get the Sycamore one. I talked to Steve yesterday, so I'll get the Showalter back. I'll get one of the Showalters back here, the All Sycamore, and I'm gonna restring it with strings that I like and kind of set it up to how I would play it, and give a more thorough kind of take on that guitar.
Next question is, who should buy Wright guitars faster?
Who should buy Wright guitars? I think most of you. I also, I'll be really honest, this is the first way that I'm really trying to make a play to sustainably use YouTube and this platform to share the knowledge that I have, to make your life better, and also to really take care of my family. Because we've been, we're not out of the woods. I don't have a ton of subscribers, 27,000. This is enough that with some sacrifice from my family, I'm able to do this with the majority of my time, actually pretty much all of my time now. But who should buy it? Anyone that is trying to make a meaningful move in their life through music and creativity. And if you want to be better at friends, be better at music, this is a really helpful way. Now, there are all kinds of other courses you could buy. You could buy a ton of courses that will teach you how to play guitars, but I want to help you get the right guitars that when you take lessons from Tony, or when you do stuff with Marty, all these other guys, I want you to have the right guitar in your lap for it. So pretty much everybody should buy this. I'm hoping that lots of people buy this. We tried to price it in a way that there is no possible way that this thing will not save you $147 if you just buy the course, or $250 if you also buy the bundle where you get the coaching and debrief call with me. There is no possible way. Even if you're buying your first acoustic guitar, there is no possible way that this will not help you save that, at least that much money. So everyone should buy this thing. It's I'm super proud of it.
Next question is, how do you buy Wright guitars faster?
There's another one right after. Maybe it's at the end. So there's a link in the description down below where you can buy it. But also, it's really easy. It's guitar-hunter.teachable, TEACHABLE.com. There's a link. There's another title down here, Dylan, if you scoot down a little bit. So that 23. So right there, guitar/hunter, Hunter at guitar-hunter.teachable.com. And so that's where the course is. You can go there. It's easy breezy, wonderful. Easy breezy. Cover girl. So now we got 3 trivia questions because we're gonna give away three people to the course. You're gonna get to go through it for free. And so I'm gonna ask a trivia question. The first person to answer it gets this for free. Then you're gonna send me an email. There's a thing, I think the next one, Dylan, is if you win, you email me at info@jeremysheppard.com. info@jeremysheppard.com. Dylan is going to run this to see the first person in the chat here that gets it right. So, question number 1 is, the first question is, what was the name of my guitar shop in Louisiana? Do you guys know this? Finger picking from Joe Robinson. That's awesome. That's a great course. I had a guitar store in Louisiana. This is just trivia if you know me. If you've been paying attention, I don't think I mentioned it in the show today, but that's how Jansen and I met, was when I was running that course. He messaged me on there, and was it You Say Hurtful Things? Jukas!
Got it?
It's so close. There's one word missing.
I don't even know this.
We're gonna hang. There's one more word. It was BME. Who got it? It's coming. Somebody's coming.
Oh.
Matt Budd got it. All right. Yeah, can you put that comment up? Matt Budd got it. Is Bayou Music Exchange. And you can go to the next. I know you got a lot going on. You can go to the next one, and there's the logo, Bayou Music Exchange. It was a guitar shop that I started in 2016, and it was really fun. And I didn't lose any money, but I ran out of money. I don't know. Yeah, all of a sudden I was like, this isn't making enough money. So closed it down and snowballed that into what we now know as Jeremy the Guitar Hunter. This Instagram account, this YouTube channel, all of it started when I was thinking, I'll make videos to get people to buy guitars. And what I found was it was cooler to just bring people along for the journey. And yeah, I'd sell guitars, but the videos kind of live on more as helping more people find more guitars. So, Matt, send me your email. I think I probably have your info. Matt Budd. Send me your info at jeremysheppard.com. Cool, man. I'm excited for you. Jukas. Let's give Jukas one as well. Jukas.
Sorry, I put up the next question.
It's okay.
Jukas?
Yeah, Jukas. Send me your info as well. You were so close, so we'll give it to you too. So we're going to make it 4. All right, so Patrick kind of jumped the gun. But, well, not jumped the gun. But there's a lot going on. Patrick got this one right. But, well, there's still one more piece missing. We got to be particular on this. Sorry, Dylan.
No, it's okay.
Yes, what's the most money I've ever lost on a guitar? And what guitar was it? So...
Patrick. Looks like Patrick got both of them.
Well, that's the maker. It's not the model.
Ah.
Yeah, sorry. I said this one. I said this one, like, all of it. It's so close. Look at that. Elliot's got it's so close. What was the model? That's the thing. We have to get the model. We just gotta hang here. You can do it. I believe in you. It was a dreadnought. It was rosewood. It was herringbone. Oh, we're so close. I'm hanging in there. You can do it. You can even Google their website and see what it was. Or you can click back. There was a live show with this guitar a couple weeks ago. Not a D28. It was a Husson Dalton. I did lose $2,000. But it was... How many birds are on Jeremy's shirt? That's funny. Ocho. 1894. Huss. That's close. All right, James Birtles. James got it. It was a DRH. Technically, it was a DRH custom, but that's a little too far. So James got it. It was I lost $2,000. You can click over to the answer now. But James, send me your info. James Birtles. Won course number 2. It's the third one we're actually giving away. But James, I lost $2,000. Sucks. Imagine losing $2,000 when you are paying for college yourself. When you are living on your own. Oh my gosh. I sold it right when we got married. And it was awful. So James Birtles, DRH custom, lost around $2,000. Don't recommend. Would not recommend. But I've done a lot better since then. So anyway, that's awesome. 50 cent G unit nylon string. There you go, Casey. You got it. You get me. All right, here's the last one, right? What year did Gibson first put truss rods in their guitars, in their acoustic guitars? What year did Gibson put truss rods in their guitars? This is funny. This is how you can see how much of a delay. I think there's like 15 seconds from us talking to you guys hearing. 1950, 1978. Nope. 1922.
1970. Oh, God.
19. We got it. We got an answer. There it is. Stan. Right? Is that the first one?
Where is it?
Go down.
Stan.
Keep going down right there.
1921.
On Facebook. Stan, go down.
Oh, no. We had Jonathan first.
Wait, Jonathan got it.
Yeah.
All right, click Jonathan and then click the answer. Sorry, there's a lot going on. Dylan, you're earning your paycheck today. 1921. How crazy is this? Jonathan Welsh. Which is really funny because I have a good friend named Jonathan Welch. And I always think that you are him. He is you. But, Jonathan, that's amazing. Oh boy, we lost the battery. No, I got it. We're good. Don't freak out. We're okay. And we're back. Are we? Yeah, we're back. Okay. Jonathan, amazing. 1921. Just for giggles, what year did Martin start putting adjustable truss rods in their guitars? Do you know that? Well, heck. Jonathan, man, that's amazing. Yeah, so 1921, and then Martin didn't do it until what year? There it is. Stan got it. 1985. How crazy is that? Yeah, you'd think you would think, we were talking about this earlier. Ford and GM. Like if Ford and Chevy did something, like what's the first year you put a V8 in a car? They would do it the next year. They would do it they would hire engineers, figure it out, be as competitive as possible. And Martin, it was 64 years later. So it's interesting. There's a cool section in the Dick Boak, book or the Martin history book, and they talk about why they didn't do it. And they figured we could save people about $100 off the cost of a guitar, and our customers are farmers. They don't move around. Their guitars are fine. They're not going to change that much. But it's really interesting. It's crazy. So that's the 3. So we got the 3. Send me your info if you won. That's amazing. Congratulations. 2 nerdy things about me, and then a good just nerdy thing in general. And guys, other exciting things. So you saw a video today about the Gibson G45 that just came out. There's another video coming out. It's a D'Angelico that we got to check out and play, and it's a really wonderful guitar. So there's a bunch of stuff coming from Sweetwater, and this video is brought indirectly by Sweetwater, so go ahead and hit that. Sweetwater, this is my shop. There's a link down in the description down below. If you make sure it's the link that says like IMP, and it clicks through to my Sweetwater website. If you buy anything through there, strings, picks, straps, new guitars, new drum sets, they also sell Apple computers. If you buy anything from there, I get a small commission. And that is how we pay for the lights and the cameras and the guitars and Dylan to be clicking stuff behind the scenes. And you get to take care of my family. That's how we pay our mortgage. So this is an amazing way that you can support our channel. Also, I have a bunch of stuff for sale. So that's 5 guitars. I think I have more guitars actually for sale, but these are the ones I wanted to highlight. I have a Sheeran SO3 that I'll sell for $9.50. Now, all of these guitars I will ship and I will merch. Ship and swag is the phrase I've used before. So with it, you'll get to pick a t-shirt or a bag of coffee or a hat, whatever you want. I'll throw them in with it. So there's a Sheeran SO3. There's a Squire Wayne's World Strat that is really cool. And I also have a Gibson J185 SEC. Nope, J185 EC. That is electric cutaway. We'll do a video on that one here soon. I think it's also time for me to sell my baritone. I just kind of decided this one today. I've got a baritone coming from Guild that will be here probably next week that I'm very, very excited about. And so I think I'm going to go with, I don't need 2 baritones, and I want a weird baritone like an 8-string. So why not? Get weird with it. There is also a Paget Model 1 that we're still selling, which is an amazing guitar. This one's Cocobolo back and sides. It's very warm and bassy and full. It just sounds awesome. I have the brother to this guitar, which is my mahogany back and sides with the anodized blue dyed burl rosette. Very, very cool guitar. So buy this one. We've dropped the price because we want it to have a really great home. It's an amazing guitar. Ben is such a wonderful builder that I believe in. And yeah, you can become part of the Virginia-made bluegrass. Nope, not bluegrass. The Virginia-made guitar brotherhood. So the next one is I've got some smalls for sale, just little stuff that would make your life better and bassier and more funky and cool and portable. So number 1 is I have a Countryman. So if you want a really great, really clean DI, have a Countryman DI in the original box. It looks mint condition, barely used. $125 for that. I'm selling an EHX Enigma, a cue balls. Real weird. Get weird with it, man. Just make some Seinfeld tunes by yourself with the cue balls. I also have a bass balls. Very cool, super fuzzy. Also the most satisfying switch ever put into a pedal. The most satisfying, just shunk as that switch flips. There's also an Eden DI that's wonderful. Also a Yamaha THR-10. This is the version 2. I'll do this one for $250. I'll ship it to you. Power supply. I'll even leave some of my own settings that I put on it. Very cool. Comes in the box. Yeah. So anyway, that's all I got. Let's go back over to the comments, see what other anything else you guys have. But please buy the course for yourself, buy the course for your friends, put it on your Christmas list, share it on your social media. This is the best tool I've been able to make, and when you do this, you can see the direct correlation between your money, your life, your growth and development also causing good into my family. You'll get to help me pay for kids' college, because I have that coming up. It's on my radar. Have a mortgage I'd like to get rid of. Don't know how much of it I can get rid of, but I like health insurance. That's a good thing to pay for. And so anyway, this is awesome. I'm very thankful for each and every one of you. And so, what's that question from Adam?
Quick question. I'm a worship pastor, and I'm curious what DI setup you use at church.
Ooh, let me grab it. I'll come right back. So I kind of play with, I don't know if you can hear me as I'm across the room. I'm playing around with this setup right now. So this is my main DI that I've played for 7 years now. This has been my guy. And so this is the LR Bags Venue. And what I love about this is it gives me EQ, gives me a boost, gives me a tuner, gives me a mute. Those are the things that I feel like the main essentials for me with a DI is sound. People don't know how to, like, they don't, unless you have a really good sound person that understands that like a mixer is a musical instrument in itself. I need to have some control on being able to not play when I need to not play, to be in tune when I am playing, to control volume and EQ. So this is a super helpful one. I've never actually used the effects loop on this. I usually run a couple effects. So I usually run just like a kind of an easy reverb. That's my big thing, is I just need some space to just give a little bit of texture. If I want more effects, I use the Fishman. This is the Tone Deck. And what I found is This one is great for adding chorus and tremolo or vibrato. Also, this one, if you're running a K&K for your acoustic stuff, this one, what I found is that this has the low pass filter, so you're able to cut out those woofy low frequencies that come from a K&K. The Venue doesn't have that, but this also doesn't have a mute. So I wish that these two were in the same box. I wish that I had a tuner and a mute and an EQ and a low pass filter and then chorus and reverb. Like if I gotta have all those in one thing, which that's a very complicated thing. But I kind of live between these 2 or 3 things, and then I have them powered. What I found is you can't daisy chain these, even though you technically could get a power supply that's like 500 milliamps. Like this is 100 and this is 200. Sorry, this is a longer answer than you probably signed up for. But what I'm finding is that like they get real noisy. These, they freak out, especially with an LR Bags pickup. If you have an active pickup into these two on one power supply, you're going to get some weird high frequency funky stuff. But this is kind of my go-to the last little bit. What's the next question? I saw Rasmus asking about a Martin.
Yeah, what do you think about the Martin 00? Is that what you think?
Yeah.
17s, not the new ones, but the ones from the 30s and 40s.
Love them. Love them. Double O's are awesome. Slot headstocks are awesome. Mahogany tops are awesome. Dovetail joints are great. Give a ton of sustain. Those guitars are super warm, super diverse, and they're pretty affordable still. Are you thinking about building in that direction? That's a good choice. They're very cool. I love the kind of peanut shape to those bodies. Very cool. I like actual mahogany tops. So anyway, cool. Well, isolated power supply. Yeah, Matt, you're totally right. I'm so lazy about that stuff. I bought a couple Fender power supplies, but they're too big. So I'm going to return them. And I'm probably going to I was trying to get away. For years, I used the Ernie Ball Voltos, and they don't last that long. They're batteries, but they work. They're good, clean power. They work until they don't work. But I'll probably end up just getting another 9-volt of some sort, or another power supply of some kind. I would like to have like a battery thing, because where I play, like our church, we're kind of in a place where like you're not close to an outlet, and I need to be able to plug in. And so if I can, I just kind of run with all 9 volts. But then if I leave stuff plugged, anyway, you've been there, you know these pains. So anyway, let me know what your setup works and if it's good for you.
Staley asks, when you buy a guitar, do you check the truss rod in addition to looking at the neck?
I don't. What do you mean check the truss rod? I'll hold the guitar, I'll look at it. I look down, I'll hold the headstock close to me, hold the body with my other hand. I look down the neck, I look for the appropriate amount of relief. If I pick it up and I can see that the action's low and it's buzzy, and then I look and I see a slight positive, or I see it's too flat. So I check it for sure. I kind of run a guitar through like probably 20 or 30 little things as I am thinking about the guitar. I'm thinking about the finish, I'm thinking about the bridge, I'm thinking about is the belly flipped forward? Is there a hump as the strings come onto the body? A lot of those things. Yeah. To me, truss rods so rare. Like very few necks are actually twisted and very few truss rods are actually broken. But those are things you'll hear on message boards. Oh, I got this guitar and the neck was twisted and I had to send it back. Nonsense. Very, very few. Because it's just not the way the tension is set on the neck. The tension is all forward. It's not going to turn unless they're using green lumber. But even then, it's just not. It's kind of a non-issue.
Chad asked giveaway.
There was a giveaway. We gave away 4 copies of the thing. It just happened a couple minutes ago. Sorry, Chad. Is that a Stratocaster?
He's talking about the Fender Acoustic.
Oh, this is the.
I think that's what he's talking about.
Yes, there's a couple. This is the Telecaster version. They don't call these the Teleacoustics anymore. But this is, the Mexican-made one. This one launched, 2 weeks ago. There's a link in the description. There's a video that we did about this one. I like this guitar a whole lot. I restrung this. I want to make another video about this guitar. Because I have a suspicion. I'll save it for a video. But make sure you subscribe. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up. That tells YouTube that this is helpful for other guitar players that are trying to figure out the questions that you and I are dealing with. How do I buy the right guitars? How do I sell the wrong guitars? How do I get enough money out of those guitars so that I can build a meaningful guitar collection? Those are the questions that I'm trying to commit my life to help thousands and thousands and thousands of people answer. So as many people as will hear the message of the right guitars make your life better, give you a legacy, and help you fill the world with music and friendship. So that's my soapbox. I'm going to be on that one forever. So, last chance for questions, comments, slanderous remarks. Otherwise, it's Friday afternoon and we're going to party. And by party, I mean I'm going to go to the FedEx store and then I'm going to make pizzas. So, it's a good day. Chad, thank you for the kind words, man. I love you. I mean it. Is it important that the truss rod is tight? Staley's question there. Tight is well, it depends. Okay, so there's single action truss rods and there's double action truss rods. Guitars that have single action truss rods, the nut could be loose, like Gibson's. The nut could be loose and it would buzz. And if you hear a buzzing around here, it's probably, if it's a Gibson style guitar, it's probably the nut up there. If not, ow! If not, it's one of the bushings or the washers on the tuners. If you get buzzing up here, usually it's the truss rod. If you get like weird high pitched things, like what I was saying, the Gibson at the very beginning of this video, that guitar has this like high pitched resonant thing that happens in the strings back here because it doesn't have string trees and there's enough of a break angle. But anyway, that's a great question. So anyway, 19 now Grant. Huh?
How about thumbs up?
Oh, thank you. Give it a thumbs up.
Grant asked, how are there only 13? And now there's 19.
19, we're doing it. Well, anyway, so this has been super fun. And thank you. Yeah, thank you for being faithful and determined and good, like consistent. I'm very thankful for the momentum that we have in this channel. I know that it's not a couple 100,000 people yet, but we're going to keep working and plugging away. And when you do a thumbs up, when you buy stuff, when you support the stuff that we're doing, I cannot express to you how much that means to me and how grateful I am for that and how it's making, I'm not having to slave away in an office somewhere. I'm getting to do work that feels meaningful and like it matters. So anyway, thank you so much. Have a great weekend. Go fill the world with music and friendship. Are you guys playing out this weekend? Are you playing with music with friends? Are you playing music out at a bar or playing at church on Sunday? Wherever you go, remember you're not alone. There are a bunch of us that are trying to do the same thing. That music is fun and it makes people feel great and comfortable and it gives relief to the stress and the worry that lots of people are going through right now. So anyway, be friends. That's all. Be friends. That's all I got. I'm out. I've said every word I can say this week. See you guys. Support people that support us. See ya. I'm done. I got nothing.